संवर्ता मंडलान्ते क्रमपदनिहितानन्दशक्ति सुभीमा सृष्टिन्याये चतुष्कं तगुलगलगतं पञ्चकं चान्यषड्कं चत्वारः पञ्चकोऽन्यः पुनरविचतुर षोडशाज्ञाभिषेकं दिव्याष्टौ मूर्तिमध्ये हसखबरकला बिन्दुपुष्पाखमुद्रा बालं कौमारवृद्धं परमशिवकला वक्रदेवी क्रमाणां श्रीनाथं चन्द्रपूर्यां नवनवकलितं युग्मभेदं तुषारम् त्रीणि सिद्धावतारं प्रथमकलियुगे कोङ्कणे चाधिकारं तेषां वै पुत्रशिष्या नवपुरुषक्रमे तेषु मध्याद्विरष्टौ सन्तानं गोत्रपिण्डं क्रमपदसकलं षोडशान्तं क्रमान्तं शेषा वै मण्डलानि परिभ्रमविमलं पूज्यसद्भाववृन्दम् आदावष्टादशान्तं कुलक्रमसकलं मण्डलोत्थानपूर्वं संस्कारं त्रिक्रमेण पशुमलक्षकृत् पिण्डशुद्धि शिवाग्नौ मध्ये विश्रामभूमि प्रसरमनुभवं प्रत्ययं स्वाधिकारं संसृष्टं येन तस्मै नमत गुरुवरं भैरवं श्रीकुलेशम्।
Pranam Acharya.
Namaskara.
Welcome everyone to this AMA session. The vision behind this was that in the course of our studies and in the course of our sadhana, lots of questions come up, and these are questions that might not relate strictly to texts or to practice, but to the broader sort of questions that you would want to ask an Acharya about. And so the Gula opened up a question page. So people submitted a number of questions. And these are interesting ones because they pertain not just to the analysis of text, but to everyday life. And so we took the questions and we just organized them into broad themes. And we're just going to go one by one and see what Acharya ji has to say about some of these questions. Okay. So to begin with, Pranam Acharya ji, you've said that internally we should be like Shaktas, externally like Shaivas, and publicly like Vaishnavas. Could you expand on this? What does it mean to be like a Shakta, Shaiva, or Vaishnava in this context? I've heard that you can't live a householder life as a Shaiva because Shiva requires 100% renunciation, and you have to be a Vaishnavite if you want to live a householder life and receive full grace. How do I do this?
अन्तः शाक्ताः बहिः शैवाः सभा मध्ये च वैष्णवा नानारूपधरा कौला विचरन्ति महीतले. This is the dictum of the Kularnava Tantra. When I say something, I'm simply trying to bring the Shastras to your light. What does that passage say? That the Kaulas stroll on earth in varied forms, like being the goddess worshippers in their heart, in their appearance, the Shaivites, and in the public or the masses, behave like the Vaishnavas. This is a generalization made some 1500 years or so ago. Strictly, those categories do not apply to our times. In those days, Vaishnavas meant everyday Hindu. Today, Vaishnavas mean mostly Hare Krishna types, or all different, really radical Vishnu-only types. So, if you still check the Hindu Panchanga, Hindu calendar, you will see Ekadashi, the 11th day of the lunar phase, mentioned in 2 days successively. The day the moon is in the 11th phase and the day it releases, it moves out of the house. The first is Smartanam, The second is Vaishnavanam. So the Vaishnavanam is just for a general public. That's what it meant those days. Behave like a normal, ordinary, everyday person. I'm not saying today, if you take it seriously, you'll be starting to beat the drums and putting some Tulsi Kanchi in the public. Okay? That is not the intent of the Shastra. The intent is when you worship the goddess, Kali, that should not be your public identity. Why? Is it because you are scared of it? You know, Kaulas are not scared of anything on earth. First, we practice death. We go to cremation ground and we meditate on death. If you worship the goddess of death, and death being the most fearsome thing for all, the Kaulas do not fear anything. We are not doing out of fear. Why are we doing that then? It is showing you how you should behave in the public. The Vaishnavas don't drink, the Vaishnavas don't eat meat, the Vaishnavas don't behave in all the so-called, a stereotyped tantric way. It is giving you a normal life. That's all I meant. Be normal, be everyday person, because if you are a sadhaka, your attitude should be humble. Your attitude should be driven by compassion and love. And when you are like a ghoulish behaving, and then you are not Kaula. There are Ati Margas, they are not Kaula. Ati Marga is not Kaula. And whether, if we are Shaivites, can we even remain a householder? You are neither a householder nor a renunciate, nothing in reality, in your soul, in your heart. If you don't have any property, people will throw you in the street and nobody will give you any place to live. You need to have some place for yourself to live. If you don't have any money, nobody is going to give you anything. And it's not like, oh, mendicant Mahasi does. Nobody is going to take care of you. You need to focus on your good life, sustainable life. I want to meditate 16 hours a day. Why is he telling me to go and work? So is that my job now to feed you then? You have to sustain your life, find a balance, and only in that balanced time you can meditate. It's just practical advice. So Shiva is a renunciate. If you think of renunciation seriously, you cannot have a partner, right? Wife, consort. Shiva, as far as I know, is always united with or in association with Shakti, Parvati. So he is a mendicant, but he's also a householder. He's both. He's neither and he's both. So therefore, the intent of the saying is that don't get too obsessed with the label and making I worship Tripura Sundari, I've met many people when I go to the India, like, there's beautiful parks there, and mostly South Indians in Bangalore go to this beautiful park in the morning, take a morning walk playing Lalita Sahasranama, and then you go to north like Delhi and they play Hanuman Chalisa and they take a morning walk, and and the Lalita type people think that they are superior because they are listening to the chant of Lalita, This is all your illusion. It's just dumbest thing you could ever do. These are not for your morning walk prayers. So we are misusing, misappropriating, and kind of by bringing down to your everyday life your sacred. You do not make all your acts sacred. You just become a pretentious human being, and that is the death of sadhana life. A sadhaka, a prerequisite for a sadhaka is to surrender to sincerity. So that's all I meant. Thank you.
The next question in this cluster, these are all related to family and relationships. Um, you know, our great acharyas had jobs. They were government ministers in Kashmir, for instance. You are married. Many of our acharyas were married as well, not renunciants. And so there are a number of questions about how to find a healthy and proper relationship with someone you love, how to tell if the person that you love is the right person for them to share lives together. So, from our perspective, we're encouraged to be part of the world. How do we know if we found the right partner, the right person to be in a relationship with?
Our relationship, love is to be willing to give away your comfort without demanding any assurance. When you are able to love someone without expecting a return in the same kind, you are a lover. And then what happens when your love is not returned in kind, but your partner turns you down? That does not mean that you failed in love. That only means that the person could not understand love. There are two relations. One is a compromise, running life, business contract. Most relations today are like business contracts. And another is loving. It's okay to be hurt. You are so scared. What if I get hurt? What will happen? Have you never been hurt? No, you have been hurt and you don't want that to repeat. But you'll survive. So, love is a school of eternal learning because you let the other person depend on you too much, then your life is gone. You love someone and they do not understand your own love or to what to expect out. When there is something to expect out of love, it's business. But a true lover, I'm deviating from the tradition, and I would go to find a true lover in Saint Augustine. Actually, if you read his book, The Confessions, he was once in love with a prostitute. He knew she was a prostitute. He was paying for seeing her each time. And one day he confessed. He was willing to give up everything, so all the prestige that comes with the priesthood and being a leader in a church and every single thing. And she turned it down. As a result, we have St. Augustine. Love does not fail you. In India, we have a good example of Santa Tulsidas, who wrote Ramcharitmanas, one of the greatest saints ever. He loved his wife so much, when she went to her parental home, he couldn't bear the separation, and he snuck through the window to her room, and she said, if you were to love God the way you love me, you would have been enlightened. He took it seriously, and then he turned his love towards God. God, girlfriend, boyfriend, all these are different objects. What is true is love. Tulsidas could love, and he proved that by loving his wife. And the object changed. He directed that love to God. Was it wrong to love his wife that way? Had he not loved her that way, he would not know the depth of love. Had Augustine not loved the prostitute that way, to that depth, he would not know the depth of love, and he would not be able to project that towards God. Your love with your partner is a school. Learn a little bit, okay? Thank you.
The last question in this session on family and relationships is about how you love difficult people in your life. So Guruji, how can I reconcile the teaching's seemingly contradictory nature that everyone is the same divine essence within, with the reality that some people, like my grandfather, who caused so much suffering in our family and remain selfish even now? How do you live with the names and forms and not be attached to them?
Antre cha hanyase cha namaha. In the Rudram, there is one name of Lord Shiva, Hantra, the killer. Hanyase, the hunted. When you worship the Vastu Mandala, that is when you install a temple or even for the house, At the center is Brahma, the god of creation. And surrounding are all the Rudras and Adityas and Vasus and all the gods. But so also are the birds and the snakes and the demons and the goblins and the spirits of all types. You have to see that in this non-dual paradigm, there is no dichotomy between good and evil, because he is not good, he is mean, therefore he must be evil. And then when you recognize the good in them, and then you think, then I have to worship it. Sometimes giving a slap is the best worship you can do. Maybe not for your grandpa, But I'm not saying out of vengeance. All I'm saying is, if you have a kid who misbehaves and you do not teach any consequence for that misbehavior, you are raising a monster in your house. And that will cause so much of suffering out for other people. You think you are nice? No. Oh, I love you, sweetheart. Doesn't matter what you do. I've been through such parents who raise such mean kids and then misbehave with other kids. And then if we go and complain, you dare point a finger to my child? And I have lived long enough to see what happens to those children. They do not do well in their life. They think they can manipulate everything. They think the whole world has to bend to their will. And we make some of these children the leader of the world, and they ruin the entire world. The fault lies in the parents to never even give a slap. Somebody is misbehaving. If you are a kind person, you teach them some lessons. You have no kindness. You want to feel good. Only a kind person can bear to punish somebody. And there are some evil who punish others out of vengeance. That's the low lives. You are not a low life. So you'll say, then I have to worship. You do not. That's the worship. I used to think that I have to, pass all my students or maybe give an A, you know. Some students come and start bullying me because I'm a soft teacher. And then I had to meditate deeply. If I let them bully me, sometimes I let, because when I get really mad, I let them bully me because I want them to be ruined. I'm cursing them that way. But most often I don't let them bully me because I feel like I have an obligation as a teacher to correct their life. As long as I feel like I have a responsibility, then I say this is not right, this is not going to happen. And when they say, oh, wow, their bullying worked real well, it's just like I made the professor to bend to my will. A teacher is giving the worst curse ever in life. His life is gone. It is ruined. Sometimes we have to curse when the people are incorrigible. So punishing is not out of vengeance. Punishing comes out of kindness. So the person does not rule over everywhere or doesn't cause suffering to all other people. Thank you.
The next set of questions is about our daily living. We need an ego in our lives to survive. So how can we channel our egotistical intentions like passion or ambition or fear towards realization? And how do we know that if we're doing an action for ourselves, selfishly, or for the universe, for something that's better? So how can we make use of our ego in our daily life, direct it to something that's good? And how do we know that we're not tricking ourselves, that we say, oh, I'm using my passion for sadhana rather than for my own benefit?
By exactly asking this question every time you act. There is no ready-made answer to that. Every situation offers you an opportunity. When you are helping, even when you are giving like a coin, you are always at the crossroad. You could have the ego of a giver, or you could have a compassion of a companionship towards another human being. When you are able to ask this question, whether I am driven by my ego, am I driven by my ego or not? Was I driven by my ego, or was I only inclined out of compassion? If you have this question in your heart every time you act selflessly, you don't have to ask this question when you are eating or driving or doing ordinary everyday routine life. But when you have to act out of compassion, when you ask, or when the situation unfolds that you can or you can avoid doing something, and then you ask yourself, then this questioning is the only remedy. Question is the medicine to cure it. Nothing but the very question. Keep that question in your heart. Every time you are presented with a situation, you ask yourself, was I kind? As long as you believe you were, that's good enough. What if you just wanted to feel good about being kind? That's not a problem. It still helps the other person. That still generates virtue. Even if it is not ultimately absolutely liberating, who cares? Learn minor actions as selfless actions. Doing selfless action makes you feel good, and that is why it is selfish. These are the low lives type questions. I'm sorry to say that way. Therefore, I should not do selfless acts because that's still selfish. Sometimes being having a polemical victory is not a victory over life. What does it matter if I kill myself or I don't kill myself? Okay. So if you use that logic to kill yourself, you are done. Just because you have a great logic, the life is in itself meaningless. Maybe. My life is meaningless. I mean, I am not there to keep consoling you. Your life is so beautiful and all. Any day you can ask that question and then you can end your life. You own your logic, but that's not the victory. That's the worst form of defeat. So sometimes being polemical doesn't help. Even if just to feel good, if you help others, if that will train you towards compassion, towards kindness, and ultimately you will not even need to feel that. It just becomes your nature. Thank you.
The next question refers to verse 121 from Spandakarika, and the verse goes as follows. Ataha satatam udyuktaha spanda tattva viviktaye jagradeva nijam bhavam achirenadhi gacchati. The question is, this verse says that one should always be alert for the spanda principle, and that such a person who's always alert attains his essential state in a short time, even when waking. So the question is, how can we have this constant full-time awareness for the spanda? Is it just a matter of sheer determination? Is that the only way?
Ataha satatamudyuktaha spandatatta viviktaye. The second line, escaping my mind right now.
Yeah. Jagrad
Jagradeva,
eva
Jagradeva
nijam bhavam.
achirenadi gacchati.
Hmm.
Satatam udyukta, enjoined every day. Spanda tatta viviktaye. In order to have the discriminative insight, viveka, towards the spanda as the final principle. You are conscious of identifying, having discernment to determine the spanda reality, constantly, dynamically unfolding newness as the absolute reality. You are being aware. You are developing insight. It is not saying you already have it. It is saying you are driven towards building it. Viviktaye udyukta, driven towards building it. You should try to have it constantly. This constantly does mean you give up all the other things and just focus on spanda. What does it mean? Jagrat meaning jnanam, the waking consciousness, meaning waking consciousness is your everyday life. When you are doing your everyday life, you go to groceries, you do some cooking. Oh, how can I cook? I'm a yogi. I need to focus on spanda tattva. Now the job is done. You just didn't get it. Meaning, it does not matter what you are doing, you just recognize the same absolute reality unfolding in no matter what you are doing. You are chopping vegetables. The Brahman is chopping the vegetables. You are eating. The Brahman is eating. Brahmarpanam, Brahmavir, Brahmagno, Brahmanavatam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahmakaran Samadhina. You are recognizing the pulsation of that same one singular reality in no matter what you do. You are simply translating your actions into divine actions. It's just an effort. Make an effort. It's not giving command. How can we sit in that? It's not, that is the conclusion of sadhaka life. That's not the beginning of sadhaka life. There is nothing to do above and beyond that, to be constantly aware of that dynamic pulsation of the absolute, to recognize this dynamic pulsation spontaneously in every single mode of your actions is your final goal, and do not start your life from the final. Start your life. It's a ladder, take it like a step at a time. And you see, oh, I have to have that awareness constantly. I'm not having that awareness. So what is the point? Are you able to build uh, some intense attentive modes of consciousness right now? Has it helped you towards developing your ability to watch the mantras? Mantras are thoughts, basically. If you are able to watch mantras as you are reciting, you are also able to watch your thoughts as you are speaking. It goes without saying. The more you do mantras, the more you recognize how in your life mantras and thoughts are the same. Basically, mantras are programmed thoughts. And then you have programmed a particular thought to keep repeating, you are watching it. And then other thoughts are running around, you are watching it, you are coming back to mantra thoughts. And it builds you, it gives you the power to transcend the unfolding of the mind. And then watch how that same singular reality is unfolding into the manifold of the mantric pulsation, thoughts, the observer, all these modes. It happens, it builds slowly. Sadhana is not a single day. By the way, jokingly, a big banker came to me 2 weeks ago and almost giving, these things are always testing, tempting. When you become a teacher, temptation comes more easily. He wanted the mantra that one recites when in the embryo, and then if somebody told him like that, and if you get that mantra, you would be, like all the mantras are needed and final liberation, and he wants to just get that and be done with all the teachings. So now you can just give soham, hamsa, all these things going on, and then have one client or be sincere. No, I don't have those magics in my life. My path is strenuous. It takes a long time. I don't know how long it will take for me. And then the people run away like himself. But that is a decent thing to do. People who are expecting magic should run away. I don't have that magic. No, I'm learning, I'm trying, I'm doing sadhana. And people who want to continue with that, I'm interested to spend time with those people. If somebody expects spontaneous enlightenment in 1 minute of some kind of mantra share, I don't have it. I cannot give that to anybody. And it's not even my job whether somebody has it or not. Buddha didn't have it. So Ananda was the most beloved of Buddha's disciples, and he remained unenlightened. So he was even excluded in the first council because he was not enlightened. Buddha could not just grant liberation to people at will, whispering into somebody's ears. So I don't think anybody can in sincerity. Buddha could have said, yes, this is enlightenment. But that would not have made him the Buddha, because he was a sincere human being first. Thank you.
The next question on our daily living is, how we cultivate devotion for Ma in our daily lives when we're doing activities that are not sadhana. Obviously, sadhana is a form of worship and a form of devotion, but how do we make our daily acts as significant as sadhana for devotion to Ma?
Again, that is also a constant learning, even for myself, how to make it part of devotion when we go, keep normal household chores, do daily job. Um, Before you reach to this non-dual, consistent Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, seeing Mother Kali in every mode, just drop that fantasy for a bit, okay? And then separate some time for your sadhana and other time live your normal life, but try to cultivate the mind that you are doing all of these to live a sincere life, honest life, and these things are necessary to sustain your body, to sustain your mind, so that you can worship the mother. As long as ultimate goal is defined, you want to understand yourself. That is the worship of the mother. Puja naam napushpadeir yamati kriyate drida nirvikalpe mahavyomni sa puja hi adara laya. What is puja? What is the worship to the mother? To merge in the absolute void emptiness of pure consciousness, that is puja. So it's not throwing some flowers or weeping in front of a statue, shaking the body like some spirits, that's not puja. Beating some drums like hell. You can do whatever you like. I'm not saying don't do it, but your total recognition of this oneness of yourself with the divine is the puja, the real puja. Even if you do not call this puja, that still is the puja. And that is being built every day. Na bhuktaha kriyate karma kalpakoti satairavi. As long as you do not consume your karma, they do not vanish away. You can deny them. It's right there. Suppose your glass, your door glass is broken. You don't have the money right now to fix it. You just pretend it's not broken. You forget about it. You can move on. You don't enter to that room. It's not necessary right now. It remains broken. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yadahankara masritya nayotseti manyase mithyaisha vyavasayaste prakristam yukshati. Whatever the ego you have to tell me, I will not fight your own impulses will drive you to act on it. So we have to recognize our drives. We have to act accordingly. We have to allow these drives. What is your drive? There are some people, and some of them, it's a big failure in my own part, have come and whose fundamental drive is to be lazy and to smoke and to just not do anything. That's what they are driven to. Everybody deserves the grace of Lord Shiva, but at least in my list, they are the last. They are not self-driven. They want to take life too easy. And they are burdened. Even if they are rich, they could use their richness for something better. And so your duty is not something you can get rid of. The sun cannot just be done with rising every morning. The wind cannot just stop blowing. Birds wake up and start chirping in the morning. Water is always flowing and cold, and in the winter it freezes. The fire always burns. You also have your intrinsic inherent nature, your drives, your impulses. They want to come out of you, reveal themselves. You can channel that energy and do something really good for yourself, for the world. Let it die. There is no realization after that. Because the world is an expression of Swabhava, the intrinsic nature of the Brahman. My incompleteness is also intrinsically woven within the being of Shiva. It is not random illusory thing popped up in my head. We can allow this to express in the most beautiful way. Or we can live a chaotic life, random life, resentful life. A few months back, I was chatting with would be one of the greatest singer in India and maybe the world. But why did she not become one? She had a little touch of life experience, you know what I mean? And she gave up. And then now she comes and complains to me, God was not nice to her. Little touch of fire, and you just say, this fire burns me so bad, I hate you, fire. So I'm going to jump into the fire now. What is the point? You burnt me. I don't like this life. Every part of the skin was burning. So let me end this thing. Do you think that's very brilliant solution to burning? You learn. You move on. You could, my God. When I read the whole background, I was shocked. God gave so much of opportunity. Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Um, so now we'll transition from the daily living to the sadhana related questions.
Mhm.
Um, this one I think you'll like. In the path of sadhana, how should a sadhaka discern between real transformation and something that's just a phase? So if one's growing kinder but still retains anger and more animalistic tendencies, is it a real transformation? Can a sadhaka also have a wrong kind of transformation? Is it possible for someone to become more angry and vigilant through sadhana? So how do we know if we're really transforming in the right way?
Um, Actually, the Buddhist Tathagata Garbha Mandala, the first chapter of the Guhya Samaja, lays out this. It's a beautiful thing. You should read it. The rati, dvesha irshya moha. So these passions, aversion, delusion, they are the divine consorts of the Buddha in the Tathagata Mandala. So these energies, para, and apara, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Ma Saraswati, intrinsically woven with sattva, rajas, tamas, inherently composed of raga, dvesha, and moha, will elicit the particular tendency within you. If there are raga elements tremendously built in within you, when you start doing japa, you will have excessive buildup of raga, either even during the time of raga, the practice or afterward. Now you know what is your central drive. And in that, there are two ways of your worship. Mahishasura type and the Rishi type. Mahishasura, the demon, is driven. He's by the way, he's one of the greatest devotees of the mother. He is driven towards the mother with lust. Shumba, Nishumba, they are also driven towards the mother with lust. They worship the mother. They love her. Love is worship. But they love her with so much of lust. Your lust towards the mother makes you, your love as a demonic, tamasa love. And then the rishis consider her the mother, the divine mother. Durge smrita harasi bhiti masesa janto. So then the rishis pray her. And then they have the build-up of sattva. Mother loves you just the same. You are the one who will make yourself a god, a sage, or a demon, based on what particular emotion you cultivate. It is quite natural to build tremendous anger, particularly in the early phase of sadhana. Tremendous accumulation of dvesharati. It comes from your powerlessness. In the bottom of your heart, you know you are just an imbecile, useless, worthless piece of nothing. And then you get this Kali mantra, and then because of your inner interpretation of yourself, you know that you are a worthless piece. And that mantra now covers that, reflects, turns topsy-turvy, opposite. And then it gives you a sense that you can control the whole world. Mantra is a drink, like hard liquor. The people who are like feeling weak, they drink a bit and start fighting with people 10 times their size. I've seen it with my own eyes. Mantra does that. Then you have to recognize that what is your inner weakness. You have no reason to feel that weak about yourself. When you recognize that, then your anger will dissipate. Because you needed power. It's like a kid, bullied. A kid is bullied, and then big bro comes, and then he just goes and, throws a rock to another kid. That's what is happening to you. I bet now my mom is here. I'm going to beat you up. Grow up. That's all I have to say. Go to next.
Do we have time for two more questions, Guruji?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm summarizing across a number. But one thing that we're finding is that there's a huge resurgence of Tantra and Tantric practice in India. And the form of Tantra that you're teaching might have some differences with the more mainstream forms that many people know. So I see a lot of questions being asked about how to protect yourself from negative entities. If I'm doing a basic Kali sadhana, how do I know that I'm actually connecting to Kali Ma and not to some other entity? If you're doing Tantra, can you drink alcohol? Is Kali Ugra? Does it mean that there's some Ugra form within me? So maybe you can take these questions and just help us understand the difference between the form of Tantra you're teaching and then where some of these questions are coming from.
For Kali worship, there's a great book. If you want to spend a little bit, if you are a Hindi reader, I don't know if it is translated into English. Mahakala Samhita is a really good book. Our manual doesn't follow that book, but I'm giving you a broad idea by reading some agamas. Because you have all these fantasies about what the Kaulas, particularly Guhya Kali worshippers, should be like. And Mahakala Samhita is the most fundamental text for Kali, the Guhya Kali, even the most fearsome form of Kali. So you can worship Kali by just drinking. You can worship Kali by drinking Amrita. There are two. Devascha asurascha somapascha asomapascha. You know, Devi Atharva Sirsha, we were just reading a few days back. Somapa, those who drink soma, and asomapa, those who do not drink soma, meaning those who drink liquor. Meaning the somapa are the gods and asomapa are the demons. It's so simple. It is so easy. It's not any defamation, demeaning, insubordination. Read the myth. Devi Atharva Sirsha lays the foundation. The mother is equal to all. But those who are asomapa, she gives them appropriate tendencies so that they can fully blossom as a demon. Those who are somapa, the way I have taught you to visualize the internal nectar to generate in the meditative states and to reside within your true blissful nature, that is what constitutes a somapa. Then you become divine. What you should do doesn't apply. A few among the worshippers of Mother Kali, you mean the mantra seer rishis, the rishis who saw the mantras of Guhya Kali. Bharata, the brother of Rama, and Rama himself. Even though both Rama and Bharata were the seers of Guhya Kali, why is Rama mantra not considered primary? No, it is not. He was Bharata. Bharata's mantra is considered higher. So is Ravana, the worshipper of the same mother. Ravana was also a rishi, the seer. Dasakandhara Natha is worshipped in our mandala. Every day I worship Dasakandhara Natha. I have to. You know, I cannot completely ignore. He became a demon. Like your uncle is a nasty guy. He's still an uncle, you know. But what determines your divine and demonic qualities are not based on what mantras you recite. The mantras you recite will help you become perfect. One of my teachers, actually, you know, I grew up in a completely Sanskrit studies environment, never went to English school. How did I become even able to speak in English with you guys? I have to tell you a great secret. I had a guru. His name, Durga. I don't want to give the full name. You might make a joke out of it. He was a perfect human being. He knew all the Sanskrit Shastras. He had studied all the Western philosophies. He was a very distinguished professor. He had only one weakness, liquor. And because I was his trusted disciple, every evening he used to take me to where you go to drink. I would sit next to him for 2 hours. And when he's like after first quarter of vodka, only then he would start teaching me all the, you know, British philosophy, Bertrand Russell or Camus or Kant. And then for 2 hours, within that, lower average would be a liter, higher average would be a gallon of vodka. And my duty as a devout disciple was to just hold him and take him 15 minutes of walk and ring the door, and his wife would open the door, and I would go as quickly as I could to my own place. He passed away. I loved my Guruji. I found the best teacher to teach me about the West. You know, the way. But he never asked me. He never asked me to be one of him. And because I had seen that weakness in him, how much conditioned he was, the the perfection, if you want to do something, do as a perfect person. I believe in perfection. My guru who drank was a perfectionist. He could drink 1 gallon every single day. If you have to drink, drink like that. Don't be a novice in anything you do. Thank you.
The
So,
final question is also kind of distilling across several. Um, what you're doing with Vimarsha is a very new thing. This mode of teaching the agamas and initiation is very new, and I think there are a few questions of just, Stefan is asking, this Shaivism of ours is so big. How do we begin? Then other people are saying, well, when you get further in Tantra, you need the personal guidance of a guru. How is it possible to have a guru who is not close to you um, and who's online? How can we learn in a traditional manner? So, how can we begin and how can we progress? Can you just tell us more about your vision of how you're teaching Tantra in this day and age in a manner that's traditional, but how you can have many students and teach us properly?
up till the generation of my guru, they would test 4 years, 5 years without teaching anything or very basic teaching, and then only then they would start teaching seriously. And even then, not all the students completed the whole thing as the teachers had anticipated, meaning it was not foolproof. Even that pre-test system was not foolproof. So I am thinking of this new using the 21st century technology, and we still have some tests like 6 months or doing courses and know me, and these are some tests, prerequisites, requirements. And then I make lectures not too easy intentionally. So it's again kind of try of making a foolproof system. So we do not get a bunch of idiots who just want to beat the drum of their lineage or guru or anything, but are serious enough. But is the system foolproof? Absolutely not. Um, how much of intimacy, like a real physical closeness, necessary for transformation? I'm driven by the instinct that the one who does Diksha is Lord Shiva. Only people who are given Shaktipata come to human guru for Diksha. The first job is the job of Lord Shiva. Based on their Shaktipata, they will carry on their sadhana accordingly. I am considering myself merely instrumental in the process. And I do spend time as much as possible, although online. That's a new reality. But the alternative, which my father himself was a great sadhaka, believed that I could get students and live in Devghat, like that's one of the remote places in Nepal. That model is not going to work either. When I was living in San Diego, a few students from India said, I'm only teaching the richest of the rich. And I thought about it. That was true. How could people afford to come to America, get the visa, all the process, and then rent a hotel, or am I supposed to, provide accommodation for all? It was not possible. So my point is, I am doing the best I can, and we keep evolving, and that is why we have the Kula. That is why we also learn, even with single gurus, like 100 students who are learning at the same time. And most of the teaching load would come down to Guru Bhai. like a year, 2 year senior students would be guiding, and they would be, why are they not guru? They are considered as almost like a guru, but the real guru is like the one who runs the whole school. And even if they are novices, just the beginners, we would, when we just started, we would still go and listen to Guruji. And we would not understand, not a problem. We keep listening as long as it takes. And the day comes when we start understanding. And then the Guru Bhai, the senior brothers, explained us the materials. So I'm trying to create the Kula, the Sangha, basically, so that that model works in modern society in our time with the aid of technology. But the responsibility needs to be shared. Let him do the job. I'm also chipping a little bit time from my busy schedule. I have a job. I need a job to live my normal life. And then I have family. It's all, and my health and every single thing. And in spite of all this, I spare a little time. Not you, I'm not personally talking about anybody, but you all know some who are giving their time are giving more and more. And I know it is not sustainable. And there are some others who feel privileged. There's no sense of feeling of seva at all. I was a little heartbroken last time I ran the Spanda course. I didn't even feel the spirit or the energy among students to spread the course out. I'm not asking too much. There's no charge. It is a free course. I'm teaching philosophy. It's not like bringing people to Diksha. You don't have to say, come and belong to our Kula. You don't know what type of cult I'm running. So you don't want people to just come. But come and learn in our school. Everybody could have said that. We saw the drop of numbers significantly. And of course, that made me sad. Like if we do not have even that level of energy to go and, hey, this is a good thing to learn. Come and learn with us. Let's study this text together. We are reading classical text. Sometimes, yes, I'm driven, like in Walden. I composed my own text, I taught, but I didn't compose my system. I am only writing a new text because the old texts are way difficult. If it is not, if you don't believe it, compare what are the materials available. I'm simply rewriting text materials. It's done by teachers in every single school. That's all I'm doing. I have not said I'm making a new revelation, new tantra. I'm not doing that. I'm synthesizing it a bit so it helps people to get access to these deeper tantric teachings and philosophies a bit more easily. So we have to create more Seva-oriented platform. People, students, because this is not a one day, one touch, one diksha, job done kind of thing. It never was in Tantra. Otherwise, they would not have a Ghara, Kula. So many different names for Vidya Pita, Mantra Pita, all these schools. They would not have a school for 1 minute teaching, like, oh, you come take mantra, you are done. And then we keep running the school for what? One hug and everything is done. It's not, that doesn't make one a school. Okay. So they did a school. They were teaching the entire agamas. We do not have any physical space. My dream is to have a physical space where all of you and many of those are there yet to come could come. We could gather at one place once a year, twice a year. I would spare my time. I would like to see all of you in physical space. It's not viable for me to expect, Guruma cooking and we all enjoying. It's not possible. It's not sustainable. But we could create a sustainable place. But that can't start from me. I mean, in all sincerity, I could have gone the route of like a refugee. I was coming out of Nepal after the Maoist violence. I just didn't choose that route, and I'm not a refugee, but I'm an immigrant. I didn't come up with resources. I don't have a lot of resources. I will not take it with me. If we have that, I am doing what unfolds at a time. So tomorrow, if we have center, I would give my time there. All the teachings I could just go and do from there, conduct from there. We would build courses, we'll record from there. It would be lovely. But just because that's not there, should we stop doing what we are doing? We should not make physical conditions as a standard setting. We should consider the quality of teaching as the standard setting. So as long as you are studying and you are doing sadhana, I met so many of you in this process. Many of you are inspired to do your sadhana and your study. So that's what is working. So many people say, I met this Mahasiddha, I touched him or what. I spent little time with. It's another thing. When you are with Guru, you are with Parasamani. It's very loving. It's so sweet. And then for some, you never want to move on, go away. My father was the opposite. He would push us out, push away as much as he could. Opposite of the average gurus, trying to pull everybody in. But then some remain completely handicapped. A month ago, I met a few ladies who offered 40 years of their productive life selflessly, no penny earned, selflessly towards the gurus. And the ashrams kicked them out when they were not fully, as productive. I'm aware of all these factors. I do not ever want anyone to share that type of story as far as Vimarsa is concerned. There are so many different aspects of social reality. We have to be aware of these, wary of these things, and we have to do the best we can in any given circumstances. Some people would say, you have to do sadhana in the pita. I keep getting these questions all the time. Why are you not stressing the significance of the pitas? Let me stress, you have to go to, Bengal, like you go to Kamakhya, go to Guya Kali Pita, go to this. So you should just give up everything, just buy a ticket, go, give up job. Yeah, your wife doesn't want to go. Who cares? Just divorce her. Just go. Oh, your kid is crying. Oh, who cares? Just leave him to some asylum, Is that what you want from me? You can do your sadhana in where you are, in whatever the job you are doing, whatever time you can spare. And I got a question some time ago. In the Shastras, it is written Brahma Muhurta, before the sunrise, is the time for sadhana, Guruji. Why are you not stressing that? I have some dozen students who work in emergency room, who are the nurses working in hospitals. They cannot choose their time. So am I going to say it doesn't matter whatever you are doing, you have to meditate or you should not learn these things? Actually, they are the ones who are doing their sadhana in all irregular time, have come to me and told me how much it helped in their daily life. It's stressful being in emergency room and being in this odd routines life, and they were so stressed, and the sadhana has helped them so much. So when the students come and tell me that it has helped, I have to believe in it. What reason would there be for them to just come and say it is really working? They don't earn anything out of that being externalized to me. I have nothing more to offer to them. So it means the system works. So our ultimate goal is to promote Shastra and sadhana in all circumstances in a free society, but not without qualification. And the more you intensify your sadhana, the more you will start, I believe, seeing the light of the path as if driven by something within you. The Guru that is ultimately closest to you is inside of you. Everything out is instrumental. The Guru is always within you. I think we have to stop at this point now. You know what amazes me? Nobody asked what we will be studying next course. Where is the spirit? That's what I'm complaining, you know. Where is the spirit? Don't you need to have that spirit? Where is the eagerness? Okay.
Acharya, what are we studying next?
I don't know because nobody asked. Nobody asked. So I will reveal. I'm still brainstorming. I'll reveal that very soon, and I expect all of you to be very effective in spreading the word and bringing as many people as possible to join us. Why do we need a bigger kula? Because if you ever think that this is going to translate into actual physical space and a place where you all as a kula member could join and learn from each other, that's not going to happen just by a few of you. We need a bigger kula, and only then shared responsibility will emerge. This is a movement. Everybody says, what is Vimarsa? Vimarsa now is not an organization, but a movement. And an organization has to emerge. And when it emerges, it has to emerge through your will, out of your will, that it is necessary, what he's doing makes sense, and let's institutionalize it in a proper way. Okay. A teacher is a movement. The teaching needs to be institutionalized. And that is possible only through the strength of the students. And the old model, again, to rely on the king, to rely on big boss, billionaire. The new model is go to the masses. We don't have either or both, you know. So we have to find the model that works for us. And I need all your willingness, and your will be the flame to guide us. I'm so thankful to you all for this journey together. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.